My answer doesn't satisfy you. If you get it right, I'll do anything you want, even if it means getting on my knees, anything. The large gathering at the social event became noisy and chaotic. Some people didn't even understand the question she posed, while others were reacting to her statement about doing anything. Her face, which was usually feared and called the devil, was cold and calm, not fitting for a social event, as she scanned the room from the stage. Then I started walking towards the stage, cutting through the tense atmosphere. As I walked, the crowd buzzed with the words I uttered. And someone said, "Isn't that guy a middle school graduate?" My name is Chris Jones. I've been working in sales at this long-established stationery company for about 6 months now. To be precise, I've been working as a full-time employee for 6 months. I was confident in my stamina and my bold personality, but I still hadn't gotten used to the unique world of the company. In these tough times, why are they hiring new people? They should give us a raise instead. Seriously. They made sure I could hear these comments behind my back every day. They must be venting their stress from struggling with sales. I'm the perfect target for that. In a way, I'm quite famous in this company. That's because I joined the company in an unusual way. Originally, I was hired as a stock sorter at this company, and I only had a middle school education. I didn't go to high school, so I worked desperately hard. With the support of the people around me, I got my high school equivalency, worked as a temp, then a contract employee, and finally became a full-time employee. The people who knew me from my part-time days were very happy for me. I also felt like I was on a new starting line and began my new life with enthusiasm. But what awaited me was an environment that didn't seem like the same company. So, the high school dropout everyone's talking about is in our department. Geez, where do we start? Teaching him how to greet people, how to turn on a computer. Well, he seems full of energy, so let's use him well. This is how my first day of my new life started. Even now, I endure the constant sarcasm and struggle desperately to achieve results. Maybe my seniors are taking advantage of me. Every day is overtime. Still, I have to push through with determination. Today, I packed my schedule with outside visits from the morning and hurried back by early afternoon. I always bring my own lunch, so I tried to return to the office for lunch. Out of breath, I got into the elevator and found a woman already inside. I greeted, apologized, and reached to press the floor button, but the sales department floor was already pressed. I glanced at her. She was wearing a perfectly tailored suit and high heels, with a beautiful face framed by hair tucked behind one ear. She was stunning by any standard. However, there was an unapproachable air about her. As I stepped back to give her space, she suddenly spoke. "You're Chris from the sales department, right?" "Yes." I wondered if she was someone from the sales department I didn't know. She continued without looking at me, flipping through the binder she was holding. "The entrance may have visitors, so don't rush in so carelessly." Did she sense my confusion? She lifted her head, looked at me coldly, and said, "Do you not understand what I'm saying?" "Oh, I'm sorry." Before I could finish, the elevator stopped, and she walked out briskly. Still puzzled about who she was, I headed to the office and quickly found out. As soon as I entered the office, I felt the air freeze. No one was speaking, and everyone was staring at her standing sternly in front of the section chief. "Section chief, I told you to report to me once you picked them up, didn't I?" "Well, Miss Mary, can't we work something out?" There was nothing to work out, that's all. I've made the decision myself. With that, she turned on her heel, walked confidently to the center of the office, glanced around, and began speaking calmly about something unimaginable. "Everyone, thank you for your hard work. I'm Mary from HR. It was decided to make some personnel changes from the sales department, but since the section chief was busy, I'll inform you myself." The office immediately started buzzing. No one had expected a personnel change. So, Mary was from HR. Moreover, judging by the section chief's reaction, she seemed to have considerable influence. When Mary flipped through her binder, someone whispered, "Devil's Book." "Miller, more. You will be transferred to the second marketing department starting next week. Make sure to complete the handover by the end of this week. That's all from me." Without changing her expression, she closed the Devil's Book and left the office. The sound of someone pounding on a desk echoed through the room. It was probably one of the two who were just transferred. I was stunned by the sudden announcement. As I ate my lunch, I listened in on my seniors gossiping. Apparently, Mary Davis was the head of HR, a top university graduate, and the company president's daughter. As I had sensed, she was exceptionally beautiful and had many admirers within the company. However, her ruthless handling of personnel matters earned her the nickname Devil behind her back. Because she's a devil, her binder is called Devil's Book. I silently prayed that the elevator incident hadn't been recorded in Devil's Book. But later that day, as I worked overtime alone, Enma herself appeared. Feeling a presence behind me, I turned around to find the beautiful yet cold Mary with Devil's Book in her hand, looking at me. "Wait, Mary," the supervisor. "Good evening. Are you working overtime, Chris?" "Well, yeah. I had some tasks to finish." "I see." How long had she been watching? Whether it was fear or nervousness, I watched Mary open Devil's Book with bated breath. She glanced at my computer and began speaking again in her usual calm manner. "You're incredibly inefficient. I reviewed your files for the personnel changes. Your sales efforts aren't translating into results. For the company, it's a disadvantage if you can't finish your work without overtime." "I'm sorry." Before I could finish apologizing, Mary stood up quickly. "I had something to tell you, Chris." "What?" I had a feeling it wouldn't be good news, but her words hit me harder than I expected. Without looking at me, she read aloud. "Originally, you were the candidate for the transfer. However, our company's long-standing policy requires that employees stay in the same department for at least a year. In other words, you're only protected by this rule. Your sales methods don't lead to profit. Don't forget, you're always being monitored. That's all." As she walked away, her heels echoing in the dimly lit office, she truly embodied Devil. However, she had gone out of her way to warn me. She was telling me that I would be next if things didn't change. So, I needed to change my approach. Caught between the company culture and my beliefs, I developed a headache. Feeling conflicted, I downed an energy drink and continued my overtime work. The next morning, I woke up feeling like my entire body was weighed down by lead. My vision was blurry, and I couldn't move at all. I managed to grab a thermometer and found out I had a full-blown cold. I thought I'd manage if I went to work, but even standing up was a struggle due to the fever. Reluctantly, I called in sick. I thought I was in good health. Mumbling to the ceiling, I drifted in and out of consciousness. Soon, the intercom rang, waking me up. I thought it was impossible to answer, but the incessant ringing forced me to crawl to the monitor, where I wondered if I was still dreaming. There on the screen was Mary. "Hello." "Oh good, you're there, sorry, but can you let me in?" My mind was still foggy. Unable to grasp the oddity of the situation, I stumbled to the door and opened it. Through the gap, I saw Mary's face, just like yesterday, but her expression quickly changed. I don't remember much of what happened after that. Mary dragged me back to my bed, and when I thought she had left, she returned with a lot of drinks, supported me, and made me take medicine. My forehead felt cool and comforting. I felt this dimly as I drifted back to sleep. When I woke up again, there was a damp towel on my forehead, medicine and oral rehydration solution beside me, and a pleasant aroma coming from the kitchen. My mind finally started to clear. Wait, what? As I sat up, holding my head. Mary, now without her jacket, rushed over to me. "You're awake. Wait a second. Your fever? It's good. Seems like it's gone down." As she touched my forehead, I saw Mary's face up close. She was indeed beautiful, with a cute smile. After yesterday, I decided to check on the sales department. It was in chaos with inquiries. They were all from your clients, and no one knew why you were absent. I instinctively reached for my phone, but Mary stopped me completely. "Oh, it's fine. I figured they just didn't listen properly. Given the situation, I came to check on you, even though it's irregular." Okay. My mind was in chaos, thinking about work, showing my worst side in front of Mary from HR, and how she was now taking care of me with a different demeanor from yesterday. Sensing my panic, Mary spoke seriously. "Don't worry about the inquiries. The problem is the number of them, Chris. How many clients are you handling? The documents I had didn't show that many." I hesitated to tell the truth, but Mary's gaze told me she already knew. "I'm also handling my seniors' clients." I thought so. Mary put her hand on her forehead and sighed deeply. "But I haven't been given any major clients yet. I just thought of it as preparation for the future. If they're using me, I'll prove them wrong someday. You've made some contracts yourself, right? But they're not counted towards your own performance. Yet, you're working hard and getting sick. I've heard the sales department has had this issue for a long time. We need to do something about it." With that, Mary took out the familiar binder from her bag. "Chris, I saw your resume from when you were a part-timer. Your middle school grades were at a national level. It's impressive that you could attend prep courses and mock exams for free. You wrote that you wanted to support your single-parent household. I wrote a lot to get hired. It's a bit embarrassing how desperate I sounded. Some things about you haven't changed since you were a child." After a brief silence, Mary stood up and went to the kitchen. She came back with a pleasant aroma. It was rice porridge with egg and a pickled plum. "You cook for yourself, Chris. I made this with what you had. Now, you need to eat something." Seeing Mary move efficiently, I was stunned. She scooped up some porridge with a spoon, blew on it to cool it down, and brought it to my mouth. "Here, open wide." "No, I can eat by myself." "What are you saying?" "No, this is a direct order." With the spoon and bowl right in front of my mouth, Mary's face was also close to mine. She looked up at me with a slightly pouting face, waiting for me to open my mouth. Realizing that Mary was taking care of me made my fever seem like it was coming back. With the spoon just touching my lips, I finally opened my mouth. "It's delicious." I'm glad. It's quite a challenge to cook for someone who usually cooks for themselves. "Here, eat up." I opened my mouth and ate, repeating the process until I finished the meal in no time. Seeing Mary smile at me after I finished eating made me feel like I was still dreaming. She laid me down, covered me with a blanket, and placed a cool towel on my forehead. Mary's face looked very kind, but then her expression changed. "I've been curious since I arrived. What are those postcards on that shelf? They look old." There was a watercolor postcard of a castle, a local tourist spot. "Oh, I got that when I was a kid. Just before I entered middle school, I wanted to help with the family finances. So, I did something like a tour guide. It was volunteer work, but sometimes I got tips. Someone I guided was really happy and bought that postcard, writing a message on the back. I started it for my family, but it made me very happy. I still keep it displayed." "I see, I understand." "What?" As I looked at her curiously, Mary changed the towel on my forehead and said with a smile, "This morning I mentioned there were many inquiries, right? Most of them were from small shops and individual stores in the shopping district. They were asking, is something wrong with Chris since he didn't come today? Oh, I drop by every day except on holidays. It may not lead to big profits, But now I understand what kind of person you are, Chris." As she said this, Mary adjusted the towel and gently touched my face. "Leave it to me." "What?" She smiled a little and left. My thoughts were still a mess, but with a full stomach and a cool head, I drifted back to sleep. The next morning, feeling completely recovered, I went to work in the afternoon, thinking about how to handle the work I missed yesterday and how to thank Mary. I arrived at the office, which had a tense atmosphere, and Mary was there too. Unlike last night, she was in her usual Enma mode, giving instructions to the section chief. It didn't seem like a good time to interrupt, but I couldn't avoid greeting her, so I waited for the right moment and spoke up. "Section chief, I apologize for the trouble yesterday. I'm fine now. Good morning, Supervisor Mary. Did something happen?" The section chief looked too exhausted to respond. Instead, Mary spoke calmly. "After seeing the situation yesterday, I decided to conduct an investigation into the sales department. It appears that the practice of dumping work and taking credit for others' achievements has been a long-standing issue. No, it's part of training new employees. I was taught the same way by my seniors." At that point, the section chief covered his mouth with his hand, realizing he had said too much, and started sweating profusely. Mary looked at him coldly. "I see. It seems our current HR reform is indeed necessary. Chris, it appears you've been taking on others' work as well. I've issued transfer orders to the two who were using you. No need for handover. As for the reassignment of duties, section chief, you'll handle it properly, won't you?" The section chief wiped his sweat and kept apologizing his head. When I looked around the office, the seniors who had dumped their work on me were already gone, and their desks were messily cleared. Confused by the sudden events, I apologized myself. Various murmurs filled the air. "Those guys were always so arrogant. Good riddance. They couldn't even do their jobs properly. But 4 people transferred in 2 days, and those 2 today were demoted. That's pretty serious, isn't it? Shh. If Enman notices us now, we're done for." From that point on, my work environment changed drastically. The section chief reassigned our duties, and for a few days, everyone in sales was busy making rounds to greet clients. I also visited the shops that had been worried about me and handled the handover of client information from my former seniors, making for hectic days. Work became noticeably easier. My seniors, now handling major accounts, jokingly said, "Chris's reputation is so good, it's making our jobs harder." Feeling that my hard work was finally being recognized, I couldn't help but smile. Opinions on the personnel changes varied, but I sensed Mary's determination to reform the company. One day, after everything settled down and work was running smoothly, I decided to treat myself by stopping by my favorite cafe after work. Since I usually drink instant coffee, going to my favorite cafe was the ultimate luxury for me. As I was heading in the opposite direction of home, I suddenly heard a voice. "Chris, are you still working?" I turned around to see Mary, who was apparently on her way home. "I just finished work, just making a little detour." "Where to? Oh, is it an adult?" "No, it's just a cafe." Mary's eyes immediately sparkled. She mentioned she had hardly ever been to an outside cafe. Since I still owed her for taking care of me, I invited Mary to the cafe. On the way, we barely talked about work. Actually, I didn't feel like talking about work at all. Walking beside me, Mary was far from her devil persona, acting like an excited, ordinary woman. I was getting more puzzled about who Mary really was. But watching her choose from the menu at the cafe stirred my emotions even more. "Chris, what's this? There's a cat on my cappuccino." "That's latte art. Do you like cats?" "I love them. Oh, it's so cute. But how can I drink it? It's too adorable." "Ah. What's so funny, but really?" Mary's delighted struggle with the menu was incredibly charming. Such a beautiful woman being so playful caught the attention of others around us. But she didn't care at all and seriously asked me, "Chris, is the shape of this sandwich bread a cat?" "Right. I have to order this. Oh, I just want to line them all up and admire them." Even after finally deciding on her order, she couldn't stop talking excitedly while looking at the menu. I listened, laughing. When our orders arrived, she was even more excited. "Chris, is it okay to drink this? Just try a little." "Okay, hey, the cat is still there even after drinking. Look. Good latte art stays intact until you finish your drink." When I said that, Mary gasped in amazement. We were attracting a lot of attention, so the barista came over to our table. Mary, unable to contain her excitement, expressed how wonderful it was with gestures and words. Seeing her beaming smile right in front of me was truly enchanting. After talking to the barista, she turned back to me. Her face flushed and whispered with an embarrassed smile, "I talk too much, hey." At that moment, I realized it for sure. I had fallen for Mary. The strong Mary at work and the sweetly smiling Mary outside both had captured my heart. Reluctantly, we left the cafe, and I decided to walk her to the station. She continued to talk enthusiastically about the cafe, unable to contain her excitement. As for me, once I recognized my feelings, I couldn't keep calm, because I knew there might not be another chance to spend time like this with Mary. "Mary?" "What? Oh, sorry, I've been talking non-stop again. Do you have a boyfriend?" As soon as I asked, Mary stopped walking and answered without looking at me, "No, but why? Will you go out with me?" I couldn't hold it in any longer and confessed to her immediately. In the silence that followed, Mary still didn't look at me. And in the same calm tone she used at work, she said to me, "I don't have time for a relationship. I'm not free, Chris. What have you been looking at in the company?" With those words, Mary left without looking back. I hadn't expected it to go perfectly, but being rejected so clearly left me standing still for a while before slowly walking in the opposite direction. A week had passed since that day. I was throwing myself into work to distract myself. The impact of being rejected was bigger than I had imagined, but I didn't regret confessing. Since that day, I hadn't seen Mary at all, confirming that it was the only chance I had. What kept lingering in my mind was the true meaning of her words. "What have you been looking at? Hey, Chris, you're coming to the social tonight, right?" Oh, what was that? A senior called out to me from afar, gesturing and laughing as he spoke. "Tonight's the company's social. Other departments are coming too. You should join, plus the food is free." I forgot. I'll be there. I had been so engrossed in work that I forgot tonight was a rare social event that crossed departmental boundaries. Building connections with other departments could be useful, but more than that, I held a faint hope that Mary might be there. After work, I arrived at the venue, a traditional inn, a bit late. A senior called me over, and I joined the group. Given the size of the place, mingling with other departments seemed challenging, but there was a small crowd gathered in one spot. At the center was Mary. Seeing her for the first time in a week, she was as beautiful as ever. With a flawless smile, she was serving drinks to the big shots from various departments. Those a bit farther away seemed to be enjoying watching Mary as much as their beer. I wasn't in a position to approach her, so I watched from a distance, feeling nostalgic for the smile I had seen before. Then it happened. Called by the event's host, Mary moved to the front of the room. As the room buzzed, the host energetically took over. "Well, everyone, are you getting to know each other better? Now, it's time for the much-anticipated recreation. And leading it will be none other than Mary from HR. Let's give her a warm welcome." The room buzzed even louder at the unexpected announcement that Mary would be leading the activities. Being the company president's daughter, a beauty and feared as devil, Everyone wondered what she would do next. All eyes were on Mary as she took the microphone. It's great to see everyone enjoying themselves. On a personal note, I was talking with a friend recently and realized once again the importance of other languages. So, I have a quiz for you all. Other languages. Does she mean something in English? Many people here are confident in their English skills. Everyone focused even more on Mary. She smiled slightly and presented the question. Explain Chinese in a way that satisfies me. The room fell silent instantly. Simply stating it's a language spoken in China wouldn't suffice. We had to impress Mary, who graduated from a foreign language university. As no one moved, Mary added more provocative words that made everyone buzz. Can't anyone give me a satisfying answer? If you get it right, I'll do anything you want. Even if it means getting on my knees, anything. The atmosphere at the social event suddenly became lively again. Some didn't understand the question at all, while others were fixated on her saying she'd do anything. Everyone was now trying to come up with an answer, spurred on by the idea that Mary, of all people, would fulfill any request. However, her face was calm and cold, not fitting for a social event, as she scanned the room from the stage. I walked towards the stage, cutting through the buzzing crowd. Even though she had rejected me, I couldn't stand the thought of someone else winning her challenge. May I answer? Chris, yes, go ahead. As I spoke while walking, the room buzzed with murmurs. Someone said, "Isn't he a middle school graduate?" I stood in front of Mary and took the microphone. Chinese is a collection of about 56 ethnic languages. What we commonly hear is Putonghua, which is like the standard language in Japan. Then there's Beijing dialect, spoken in the capital. Mary's expression didn't change, but she put her hand on her chin. She probably wanted more detail. I continued. The major ones are Cantonese, Northeastern Mandarin, Henan dialect, Sichuan dialect, and Shanghainese. Names like Shanghai and Cantonese might be familiar, but their intonations can be quite unique and challenging. At that point, Mary interrupted. Chris, can you speak it? I can't speak the Northeastern dialect in detail since Beijing Mandarin is generally understood there. But I can manage the others well enough to communicate. I said this in Chinese. Mary seemed to understand a bit, but the room grew even more restless. Especially the sales department. They were all stunned. As I scratched my head, wondering what to do next, Mary approached me. She extended her hand for a handshake and asked, Can you speak any other languages? I'm also quite good at Italian. When I was doing volunteer tour guiding, I wanted to explain things better to foreign visitors, so it was a lot of study and practice. That's not just good, it's amazing. The winner is Chris from the sales department. With applause from everyone, Mary and I shook hands. Only I might have seen it, but she had that wonderful smile on her face. As the event wound down and people started to prepare to leave, I finished my meal and got ready to go. But my seniors stopped me. Hey, Chris, what are you going to ask Devil to do for you? What? No. She probably just said that to make things more exciting. What are you talking about? Don't waste it. You showed off some amazing skills. Look, Supervisor Mary is looking over here. I looked up at my senior's words and saw Mary beckoning me over. My seniors nudged me forward with grins on their faces, and I stumbled my way to Mary. She led me to the inn's lobby. We sat on a sofa, facing each other. My heart suddenly started pounding. I had been fine earlier, but now, alone with her, all I could think about was that she had rejected me. Mary looked at me quietly and said, Have you decided what you want me to do? I was serious when I said it. What? She looked at me with a business-like expression, then slowly drank the coffee that had been brought over and stared at it. Watching her, I couldn't help but remember that day at the cafe. Seeing her delight at something new, unable to hide her joy and love for fun, I realized once again that I had fallen for her. Could you just keep smiling? What? I straightened up, looked Mary in the eyes, and repeated, I want you to keep smiling. That's what I want. Got it. I thought I was smiling, but I'll try to smile more. Mary forced a smile and started to stand up. I realized this might be my only chance. I hesitated, but then felt the urge to speak out, seeing her current expression. I know you. You're a kind person. At work, it looks like you're hiding your pain. As the president's daughter, you have responsibilities, evaluating people, making tough decisions, and wearing the devil mask. But I don't talk like you know me. What do you understand? What do you know about me? She slammed her hands on the table and shouted at me. The coffee cup, barely touched, spilled, splashing onto my suit. Oh, I'm sorry. See, you're kind. Mary looked down, seemingly holding back something. But then she took out a handkerchief from her pocket, grabbed my arm, and started wiping the spilled coffee in silence. I spoke to her softly. Mary was so surprised by my words that she stopped moving. No, that's impossible. I thought so too, but it's true. I haven't forgotten. We met when we were students. It was during my 3rd year of middle school. That